Hey y'all, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. I'm super excited about this video, obviously by the title. I am pregnant! Yay! I'm like, this is so crazy for me because I feel like I never really imagined being pregnant. Like, I feel like for so long, probably since I was like 14, 15, you know, like having this fear around pregnancy and like getting pregnant while I was in high school. And then it was a fear of getting pregnant while I was in college. And then it was a fear of getting pregnant while I was in grad school, you know, and as, you know, being 28 now, and being pregnant for the first time, it's nuts. Like, I never actually thought about what it was going to be like for me to actually be pregnant. And I guess it's something that you can never really fully understand or kind of like get until it's like happening to you in real life. So Mark and I are so excited. Many of you know, but many of you don't know that Mark already has a child from a previous relationship, and I love her dearly, and I'm so excited to have her, you know, be a big sister. And I just am so happy to be sharing this journey with Mark. I feel like, you know, we as a couple are just so in tune with one another, and we have so much fun together, but at the same time we challenge one another, and we have so many things that we love to do together, and our energies like balance each other out so well. And so I just am so glad to be on this journey with him, especially the fact that he is already a father and has kind of been through this thing before, even though he was quite young when he had his first child. So he's definitely grown up and definitely, you know, more kind of aware, I guess. And so Mark has just been so amazing through our journey so far, and I'm just really grateful to be going through this, doing this part of my life with him. So we're so excited. And I asked you guys the other day on Instagram, you know, what kind of questions do you guys have? Because I know initially when I announced my pregnancy on Instagram, sorry, Bull is crying in the background. There he is. Initially when I announced my pregnancy, I wasn't sure. Why are you growling? Calm down. Can you calm down? Sit. Chill out. Initially when I announced my pregnancy, I wasn't sure how much I was going to share. And I am very cautious about how much I share online because, you know, I'm just one of those people who understands the gravity of exposure, you know, and I understand that some exposure is good and then some exposure is not so good. So finding that balance of like what I'm comfortable with and what I'm not comfortable with is kind of a juggling act. But I decided to just ask you guys what questions you had versus trying to decide like how I wanted to, you know, share this pregnancy or whatever. I felt like this was a great starting point so that I could directly answer things that you guys are wondering about. And then later on, you know, if I want to do more videos surrounding my pregnancy, or maybe you guys have more in-depth questions or want to hear more about one of the questions that I do answer in this video, I can do more videos talking about that. So depending on how, you know, this video is received, it will depend on, or will impact, you know, my future decisions on how much I'm going to share, how much I'm not going to share, and things like that. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. Oh, and before we get started though, definitely like and subscribe to my channel and like this video if you want to see more of me. And yeah, definitely put me on notifications if you haven't already done that. So appreciate it. So first I want to kind of give you guys where I'm at in my pregnancy before we get into the questions. So I am 16 weeks today. I'm in my second trimester, which means I'm about 4 months. And yeah, I had a pretty, you know, up and down first trimester. That's usually the time where, you know, you have different symptoms and you get sick or you get tired, or, you know, you have these kind of like different things happen. And I will say that I definitely got sick. Sorry, my eye is itching. itchy eyes is also a symptom I've heard, like itchy and dry eyes, so that's also becoming a thing for me. So I'm 16 weeks. I did get sick during my first trimester. It wasn't like I was throwing up every day. It was more so like I would throw up maybe once a week or so, and then I would have other days where, like, you know, I was flying one time and I flew to Philadelphia for my birthday, and flying there from Portland was fine. You know, it was cross country. I was fine the whole time. On the way back, I threw up probably every 30 to 45 minutes, and it's like in total, like 8-hour travel experience. So that really sucked. I think outside of the morning sickness, I think I also maybe ate something that wasn't sitting right with me. So I don't know what it was, but it just was horrible. So I was like doggy bagging it, like on the plane. I felt so bad for the people around me. Luckily, this flight that I was on for the 5-hour trek, because it's like usually like a 6-hour total flight time or so between, so you usually have like a leg or two. So my first leg was about 5.5, 6 hours, and then I had a small like 30-minute flight after. And so on my 5.5, 6 hour flight, you know, I didn't have anybody sitting next to me because the flight was kind of empty. So luckily no one was sitting, like, you know, in between me or, like, you know, around me, but there were people behind me, in front of me. So I was definitely like projectile vomiting the entire time. And the stewardess like felt bad for me and was like bringing me, you know, the bigger plastic bags, and I was just like, oh my God. So that was probably the worst kind of impact that it had on me as far as like nausea and stuff like that. But I did throw up a few times, but I felt nauseous a lot. Just like, I didn't actually throw up, but I felt nauseous a lot. And definitely not just in the morning. It was all day, or sometimes at nighttime. Yeah, and so I started only eating like really bland food, you know, kind of like the traditional, like, you know, only things that you can kind of keep down type of deal. So, and then I was also hella tired, like fatigue, like nobody's business. Like, I've never felt that tired before. So, I know, like, I had a hiatus on my video that I talked about, like, YouTube content is trash. That was kind of like my first video in like a month and a half or so, and a big reason why, outside of kind of being uninspired and kind of taking a break over the holiday, was also me being pregnant and suffering from first trimester just like woes, you know what I mean? So I just couldn't talk about it at that point yet. But yeah, and that was the hardest thing in the beginning, was like not being able to share with you all like what I was going through, because especially on IG stories and things like that, I'm sharing like my day-to-day, like what I'm doing, what I'm experiencing or whatever a lot, and I felt like it was so hard to wait until my first trimester basically was finished to share with you guys. So I shared on my birthday last month, and it was just so hard to keep it from y'all. So I was like so happy to finally like reveal the fact that I was pregnant. A few people were like, I knew it. Because y'all know I'm pretty consistent with content. I'm pretty consistent with like posting and doing things or whatever. So when I'm not doing that, like something is up. On top of me preparing and working on my new company, Life is Content. And so if you haven't seen kind of like our introductory video, I posted that last week also. I'll link it here for you guys to check it out. But it is my newest venture, my baby. You know, a lot of you know that I'm an educator at heart. I have degrees in education, and I've always loved beauty. And so while lipstick and curls is like my beauty kind of avenue, Life is Content is my educator avenue, and it's kind of the blend of the two in a really dope way, and I'm so excited about it. I want you guys to learn more about it, so I'll definitely kind of put some information down below, and again, link that video so you guys can check it out and see if you guys want in, basically. So anyway, back to pregnancy stuff. So yeah, so that was kind of like my first trimester, was like the holidays, you know, dealing with like, you know, the fatigue, nausea, and stuff like that. But that was really like my only symptoms, I feel like. And so let me go ahead and get into these questions, because some of the questions were like, how did you know you were pregnant? How did you, what symptoms did you have, and things like that. A lot of people asked those questions, so that's why I just answered that first. As far as how I found out I was pregnant, so I found out pretty early. I found out at like 4 weeks. I was late on my period, and I have always kind of dealt with irregular periods ever since high school. Sometimes I'll go like times where I won't have a period for months, and then sometimes I'll get a period early, or it'll just be wonky based on like stress levels and like what's going on in my life at that time. And so I'm really sensitive to things. So prior to getting pregnant, I was working out a lot, and if you guys saw on IG stories, I wasn't really posting content about it, but I was posting a lot on IG stories about training with my personal trainer, and I was doing that for 2 months, where I was going about 3 times a week with her to the gym. And so I was getting really active. I was excited to be tapping into like that fit side, because I felt like I finally found a trainer that got me and like understood what motivated me and like kept it real with me, and like just, she knows her stuff so well. Abigail Parker is her name. Follow her on Instagram. She's based obviously here in Portland, but she's amazing. And so I was working out with her for a couple months, and then so that threw my body off. My body was like, what the hell is going on here? You are not usually this active. So I really feel like that's what initially pushed my period back. So initially I'm thinking, oh, I've been working out and I missed my period or whatever, but that it's just because of that. So a month later, I still hadn't gotten my period. And so I'm thinking still, it's just late, like I've been working out, whatever. So then when it didn't come for the second, kind of like, okay, missed one, then the next one didn't come, I was like, okay, like maybe I need to take a test, you know, maybe I need to make sure like nothing else is going on. So then I was in LA, and I was having meetings and stuff, and I was feeling weird. Like I was feeling like, okay, Jade, like low key, like something might be going on. Like something might be going on right now. But I didn't know. So I literally remember I was at my friend's house, and we were talking, and I was telling her, I was like, I'm scared to say this, but I feel like I'm pregnant. And I was petrified. Like I had so much fear when I was talking to her about it, because one, I hadn't even talked to Mark about it. I hadn't even talked to him about like my concern of feeling like I was pregnant, because I was scared and I didn't know why I was scared. And so I think I'll talk more about why I was scared later, but because it's multiple reasons, okay? But you know, she was just kind of supporting me and kind of just telling me, you know, realistically, Jade, like, why wouldn't you be prepared? Why wouldn't you be ready? Why wouldn't you know that you have everything you need to be a great mom and all these things? And I'm like, I know. But it's different when, you know, fear is like making you feel like you can't do it, or that you can't, I don't know. It was weird. And so I was just very like nervous and anxious about it. So I go home that night, I fly back to Portland. The next morning, I take a pregnancy test. Mind you, I had taken like 5 tests before I went to LA a few days earlier, like the week prior, and all of them were negative. So I was like, oh, I'm good, but I still had this inkling that I was pregnant. So then I was like, okay, let me just take this pregnancy test real quick in the morning, and because that's when you're supposed to take it, and I can again reassure myself that I'm not pregnant. Girl, I peed on that stick, and it was instantly positive. Like, instantly. And I was like, okay, wait a second. Let me catch my breath for a second. This says positive. This says positive. Is this saying positive? What does the box say? Okay, it says when it has 2 lines, that's what it means. Oh, okay. So okay. So then, after I'm kind of like shocked, and think, like, I thought, in hindsight, right? Like, I thought I would be hella emotional. Like, I thought I was gonna be crying, and that it was gonna be this whole big, like, dramatic experience, and it honestly wasn't. I felt relief. That's the only thing I could explain. It was like, I felt relieved to know, A, that this is what it was, and B, I think my relief was knowing that, you know, God chose this time. Like, it's time to start this chapter of my life. So I felt good, but I was still low-key kind of numb about it. Like, I didn't really know how to feel about it, except like I was like kind of anxious, but whatever. So I called Mark. Actually, I FaceTimed him 2 times on his 2 different phones. And looking back, I'm mad at myself because I wish I would have kind of like made it like, you know, special for him in a way. Because I just was like, in that moment, I was just like, oh my God, I have to call him. Instead of like waiting until he got home and like showing him the stick, you know, all that kind of stuff. If we have another baby, prayerfully we have another baby one day in the far future, because I'm not, God's timing, okay? So I was like, maybe I'll think about that next time, but like this time I just didn't know what to do, okay? So I call him, and he didn't answer. This was like 8 o'clock in the morning, so he just got into work. So he calls me back. He's like, what's up? Like, what's wrong? Because he knows if I call back to back like that, something is going on. So I was like, nothing's going on. Because then I decided that I wanted to make it special, but it was too late to go back because he already knew something was up. So I was like, I took the test. And he's like, what test? I was like, the test. Okay, what other test? Okay. And he was like, I'm coming home right now. And so literally hangs up the phone, leaves work, comes home, and is just like so happy. And he tells me like on his way, like he like called his brother, I think, or his dad, or so. I think it was his brother. And you know, got emotional and stuff, because I think for him, he's wanted another child for a long time. And he's such a family-oriented person, super emotional, and like very open about like love and having love for others, and being very very sincere in those things. So he was so excited, and obviously I'm still kind of like, I don't know how to feel about this. I'm a little nervous. I'm still a little anxious, but he's helped me kind of get out of that anxiety. So yeah, so that's how we found out. I feel like this video is actually going to be, just going to be how we found out I was pregnant, and how did I know? Because I feel like I'm talking forever. So second part of this video is going to be the Q&A, because I feel like there's so many questions that need to be separate videos, because y'all going to be here all day. So yeah, so that is how we found out. And as far as, you know, telling our parents and our family and stuff, we just like made some calls like a week or 2 later. Oh, actually, I'll tell y'all how I told Simone, because that was the second person I told. So I called Simone on FaceTime, and I literally just had the camera on the stick. And she was like, oh my God. It was so funny. And she was like, oh my God. And then after she kind of like does that for a second, she's like, yay, Kaya's gonna have a cousin. And she's like all excited and stuff. And so I was excited, and I was just telling her like, I feel kind of like, I don't know how to feel about this right now. Because, you know, like, to be honest, and this is a question that I got a lot, was the baby planned? Was it not planned? How did you guys feel like not being married? And I feel like, okay, for me as a person, so this is, I kind of separate it into 2 things, right? So I have how I feel as an individual, my own feelings, right? And then I have these feelings that I have come to have based on society, based on my family, based on especially my parents, that conflict. And so as a person, I never cared in a way about marriage in a sense of that being a determining factor or a check off before having a child. I just knew in my heart that I wanted to be with someone that would be a great father, that would love me, that would love our child, that would be all the things that you would want in a relationship and as a parent, as a co-parent. So in my heart, I never really needed that piece of paper to validate us, or validate like the a child or anything like that. And so I struggled with that in the beginning, as far as like how I feel as a person and like how I know like my parents feel or my family feels or society feels or whatever. And I had to take a moment and step back and say, at the end of the day, this is my life. At the end of the day, this is my child. And at the end of the day, God chose us. You know what I mean? And so whether we're married or not, which marriage has always been a priority for Mark and I. Like ever since we started dating almost 3 years ago, we both knew that we were dating to get married. And so we've been living together probably closer to the 2 years of us even being together. We moved in together and moved to Oregon after dating for like maybe 9 months. So we kind of always knew that like we this was it, as much as you could know at the end of the day. And so I felt like with him, I didn't need that piece of paper to validate our relationship or validate the fact that he was going to be a great father or, you know what I mean, or a great partner in life. Because whether we're married or not, we are partners now for life as parents of this child. So I had to really face a lot of the fear kind of that I mentioned before about just about like how other people would perceive us and how other people would perceive our relationship. And honestly, not even necessarily the world too much, but like our close, immediate friends and family. I'm not going to say everybody was like super excited. That's just the reality. And I feel like that's a really personal part of it. So I'm not going to go too deep into that at this time because it's something that I feel like I'm still working on within myself. But at the end of the day, like, I'm a grown-up, he's a grown-up, and we've made the choices that we've made, and we completely own them, and we're happy. You know what I mean? We're incredibly happy with one another. We're incredibly happy to be blessed to have a child and to bring another soul into this earth, because there's so much out there, so many people out there that don't get the privilege of being parents. And my heart goes out to people that want to have children so much, but physically can't. And so how could I ever get bent out of shape about a piece of paper when at the end of the day it's more so about the child? And whatever else happens, like, that's just life. Like, that's just the way it is. But in my heart, I know that Mark is the man I'm going to marry, and we're going to be together. And even, God forbid, because I don't want this, but if we weren't to get married, I know that he is going to be the best father he can possibly be, no matter what. No matter what. So that alone gives me the confidence and the ability to own my life, own every decision that I've made, and to be extremely excited and grateful to be blessed, to be able to carry a child into this world, because again, it's a privilege and a blessing, and I am just so happy that God chose me, you know what I mean? And so that's how I'm receiving energy during this pregnancy. I'm keeping all positive energies around me, around my child, and for the most part, it's been incredibly positive. And people are incredibly happy for us. And like you guys, when I announced, like my Instagram went crazy and so many people were so happy. And it's like even like every day that I'm seeing people that I haven't seen in a minute, like are so happy for us. So at the end of the day, I focus on positive. I don't focus on negative or things that may make me feel like, oh, I did something wrong. Like, no, I've done everything right in my life. Right. You know what I mean? Like, and it's not even a right or wrong because everything is happening the way it's supposed to happen. So anyway, I'm going to end this video here. I'm going to make the next video that I talk about pregnancy stuff more of the Q&A because this just became hella long, and I don't want to keep y'all here forever. But definitely stay tuned for the second part of this kind of pregnancy Q&A, which today wasn't really Q&A, but the next video will be Q&A, the questions that you guys had on Instagram. Bye!